Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's GTA 5 video, we're going to be talking about how a date coming up soon could be the day in which we actually get some news from Rockstar or Take-Two Interactive on one of their upcoming projects, like the standalone version of Grand Theft Auto Online, or perhaps the expanded and enhanced version of GTA 5, or potentially an unknown or unreleased game, like the next installment of the GTA series, Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, I know that's being very optimistic, but Take-Two Interactive actually announced that they are going to be doing a financial earnings report and call for the third quarter of its fiscal year in 2021, which ended on December 31st, 2020, after the markets close on Monday, February 8th, 2021. Now, the company plans to hold a conference call to discuss these results at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, which can be accessed by dialing the phone number you see on the screen, and a replay of the call will be available shortly after, and this is very exciting. So in case you guys have no idea what these earnings calls are like, essentially they happen 4 times a year, once a quarter, and it's where Take-Two Interactive, which is the parent company of Rockstar Games, discuss how their business has done really over the last 3 months. Now, what happens during these calls is we usually hear from the executives at Take-Two Interactive, the biggest of the bunch being Strauss Zelnick, who will talk about all their different developers and labels, such as 2K Games, Private Division, and the one that we care about the most, Rockstar Games. And so what typically happens on these calls is Strauss Zelnick takes a look back at the last 3 months of how Rockstar Games ultimately did. Now, how it relates to Grand Theft Auto, I would imagine we're going to hear about how the Cayo Perico heist is the most successful update the game has ever seen, how there's been a record number of players that have actually jumped on the game, how Rockstar made more money through shark cards than ever before. Grand Theft Auto Online and GTA 5 just continues to grow, and that's actually something we'll talk about towards the end of this video. So it's usually them looking back at the last 3 months. However, usually and sometimes during these calls, we get little tidbits of information or nuggets of details or little interesting quotes that tell us about what to expect going forward in the future. Now, for the most part, Take-Two Interactive will not talk about something that Rockstar Games have not already discussed. So they won't be the one to break news, but they will tell us kind of what direction they're leaning in, like the fact there might be more big updates coming or that something huge is on the horizon. That's the sort of stuff that they can ultimately tell us about. So now that you know roughly how those calls go, let's talk about what we can expect. So the date itself is Monday, February 8th, 2021. It's actually a day before my birthday. And so Rockstar, Take-Two Interactive, if you guys are listening here, that would be an awesome birthday present. Let's talk about the expanded and enhanced version of GTA 5. Let's talk about the standalone version of Grand Theft Auto Online, or best yet, let's talk about some GTA 6. So if you guys are listening, that would be a pretty awesome birthday present. But it happens at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's the second Monday in February. And I think there is a chance that something could be announced, obviously, at that conference on that date. That's where something interesting, newsworthy, noteworthy could be discussed. However, I think that any time up until that point now is also a prime opportunity for Rockstar to talk about something pretty interesting. So they obviously want to have stuff to talk about on this call, whether it's looking back at the past or going forward. So if they do want to go forward, now would obviously be the right time to do it so that when the call does come, they can actually discuss it. And remember, this call is made available for the public, but it's really for the investors and people that have a vested interest in Take-Two Interactive. They are obviously in the business of making video games, but at the end of the day, they're still a business, and it's all about making money. So this is important to people that are invested monetarily in this company. And so obviously, if Rockstar is doing something big, that's going to benefit their bottom line. So I honestly think that from now until the date, February 8th, we are in a prime position to hear something pretty cool from Rockstar if they choose to come out and announce something. And again, I'm hoping that that announcement is something along the lines of GTA 5 expanded and enhanced, standalone of Grand Theft Auto Online, but I would not be disappointed if it's nothing like that. In fact, just going back to what Rockstar did in 2020 during January, they basically talked about how successful their end of the year was in Grand Theft Auto Online, how they had a record number of players, a record amount of engagement, a record amount of people buying shark cards, which is obviously very good for them. And it's not like they were just bragging on themselves. I mean, they clearly were, but they also talked about how their record-breaking holiday season was going to be passed on to players. And so they ended up giving away like free money in Grand Theft Auto Online. In fact, $2 million they ended up giving away, as well as a bunch of other rewards and free items. And they also talked about what was going to be coming up in 2020. Now, obviously, 2020 did not happen like anyone thought it was going to happen, especially when Rockstar wrote that newswire on January 28th, 2020. But regardless, they still gave us an idea of what was to come during the year. So I'm hoping at a minimum we get something like that. Obviously, shooting for the stars and asking for GTA 6 info, that's good and grand, but I think this is probably more realistic in order to hear something like that from Rockstar. So as always, I'll be sure to keep you guys posted on that, not only on the day in which February 8th arrives and the call happens, but obviously every day leading up to that. If something new, exciting, interesting is announced, I'll be sure to keep you guys posted and keep you in the loop. Now, speaking of GTA 5, it looks like GTA 5 is not going anywhere. I know people are anxiously awaiting and expecting GTA 6, but Grand Theft Auto 5 is still in high demand, and it has no signs of slowing down because according to a report from the ERA, and I'll even leave a link to this Rockstar Intel article in the description, in 2020, Grand Theft Auto 5 was the third best-selling game in the United Kingdom. That's crazy, because if you think about it, Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in 2013. Now, it was most recently released back in 2014 and 15 for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC, but it hasn't come out for a new edition yet. We haven't seen the expanded and enhanced version for PS5 or Xbox Series X. So that's insane. What's even more insane is that it was just behind first and second place, FIFA 21 and Call of Duty Cold War, which came out this year. So GTA 5 sold a total amount of 1,127,222 copies in 2020 in the UK. That's only 300,000 copies less behind the brand new Call of Duty Cold War, which obviously came out this year. And what's even more impressive is GTA 5 sold more than multiple new releases, including giant titles like The Last of Us Part 2 and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So it's just crazy to see still how successful GTA 5 is. And again, we haven't even seen the expanded and enhanced versions yet. So it sold really, really well in 2020. It's definitely not going anywhere. And for the first time ever, the UK gaming industry exceeded 4 billion euros worth of revenue. So it's pretty clear people chose to spend their 2020 playing video games, which honestly, I don't blame you. Stay inside, stay safe, play some video games, do whatever you want to do to get through this horrible year. And so it looks like that's what people ultimately did. So if you want to see the full list of other games that are on there, which there's a couple of other Call of Duty games, there's even another Take-Two Interactive game, NBA 2K20, that made it on the list. I'll leave a link to that Rockstar Intel article in the description. But again, it looks like GTA 5 is not going anywhere. Some people will actually see this as bad news because a lot of the comments I hear on social media are, I wish GTA 5 would just die so that Rockstar could move on to the next one. I don't think it necessarily works that way. I think GTA 5's success has not only bought Rockstar time, which we all get frustrated with, but that's probably going to lead to a more polished product. And we know the success of Grand Theft Auto Online has obviously given them a ton of money, which means they'll have more resources to invest in creating an amazing game. So I think at the end of the day, it's really just the fact that Rockstar hasn't said anything. I think if they had just come out and said, like, GTA 6, we're working on it, we don't have much to share yet, but it's coming, I think that would settle a lot of people down. It's the fact that we've just got radio silence has people all worked up, including myself, because it's like, is it out there? What's going on? Like, can we hear something from you, Rockstar? That'd be awesome. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're dealing with at the moment. But I would, of course, love to hear from you guys in the comments down below on everything we discussed in this video today, whether it's something potentially happening on February 8th at the earnings call, the success of GTA 5, and a whole lot more. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and Red Dead Redemption videos that I'm doing here on my channel. and be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.